Yeah, there's a lot of emotional communication through music. In fact, every time that there's something important in a film, there's a piece of music in the background designed to stimulate. You know, if there's a romantic scene or
Or
some,
cycle, just nothing, and after that,
yeah, there's they even people who work in that industry. They spend a lot of time studying how audience reacts to certain sounds, and there's uh, a normal human reaction to be frightened or scared when there's an unexpected bang or an unexpected bang or a thump or
hmm,
any
yeah,
any specific sound, and very often that's artificially added into the soundtracks of films while the film is playing, and it's added at a point where you don't recognize it. These are subconscious triggers that are put into the sounds of films, um, especially classically, especially horror films, but not just horror films, but all
drama
kinds of.
as well,
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely.
psychological and
Yeah,
romantic,
yeah,
and love in sitcoms, for example. Yeah, yeah,
the canned laughter, the artificial fake laughter.
yeah,
It's if you need that, then there's something wrong, right? It's just there's just something wrong if you have to put that in. And I was sending out my daily email this morning, and I had in it a short clip from a TV series, and it had this canned laughter, and it annoyed me and frustrated me so much that this was there because you don't if you're funny, you don't need it, right? I mean, if it's really funny, you don't need people laughing over the top. You don't need this
actually,
guided
it's
comedy.
it's for some purposes. It's not something what just you put them there because you want something from it.
Well, yeah, naturally, people feel more comfortable and they are in general easily led in those kinds of situations. And if you, in fact, if you look back over time, say the last 40 years, you can you can see how this has increased. The level of this has increased in television programs. It started off as
Yeah,
a little bit, and then it got
because it
more and
works.
bigger and louder. And yeah, it's there because it works. Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's scientifically proven that those kinds of things work. Oh, yes, come here, darling. No,
Hello. No, no.
no, it Blaze is finished. Has it? Okay, well that was the last one. I'll have to download something later on, okay? When I'm finished. I'll come through later when I'm finished, but you have to wait for me, okay? Okay? Is that okay? Hello? You're not happy? Oh, okay. Bye-bye. There we go. Gone. Sorry. Blaze is finished. Mm.
What is
Um,
it?
yeah, that's a great question. Um, it's a cartoon for children about it's about a little truck, a little car, and the adventures of the car.
Hmm.
And for adults look at it and they think, "This is terrible. This is terrible. This is rubbish. This. How can they create such madness and nonsense?" Kids watch it and they think it's the best thing they've ever seen in their life, which is a very interesting difference between the adult perspective and the child perspective of the program. And I was watching it with my children, trying to understand from their perspective why they like it so much. Um, and there's lots of little elements. There's the music that's added to it. There's the bright colors. There's the characters. There's interaction. There's audience participation. And I think the most important thing is that the cars do things that are completely impossible. And that's what makes it exciting and interesting. So there will be a tunnel and the car will go upside down through the tunnel, which is impossible. But that's what the kids love, right? They like to see those impossible things in the
Okay.
cartoons. So my daughters love it. It's their favorite cartoon. To watch this little truck or car. I would like for them to have a more intellectual choice, but they're very young, so that's okay. And you like what you like, right?
Yeah.
That if they like Blaze, then they like Blaze. If they like Scooby Doo, they like Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but cartoons were, of course, originally designed to keep people's attention. The first cartoons were shown before films in the cinema, and they were designed to get people to focus on things. And it was discovered in the first studies of young people that watching large amounts of cartoons can actually cause attention problems for children. It's actually not really that positive. They have problems focusing on things for longer periods of time after watching cartoons. So a little bit is okay, but too much is probably not a good thing. So there we go. I could talk more about cartoons, but I'm not going to. So,
Not even note for this topic.
Yeah, because I already had a session on Disney today. I talked about Disney with one client for a whole 2 hours. We discussed the history of Disney and Disneyland and Disney cartoons and archetypes and why Disney is considered so good and positives and negative elements of it. Very interesting. Especially as I discovered that topic by chance yesterday. I was looking for something and I couldn't find it, and I ended up watching a Disney film from the 1950s. And it was very interesting. Let's talk about it very briefly. It was a Disney film from 1957, and it was Wernher von Braun, who was the head of NASA, talking about how NASA was going to send a man to Mars and describing it in detail. It was an amazing film. And if you know, Wernher von Braun was Hitler's head of science, who designed the space shuttle that America eventually used and sent up into space. Anyway, a little bit of space history there. So all these things interconnected. There we go. So anyway, that was because my daughter interrupted us. I'm sorry.
Never mind.
I'm sorry. Music was a topic before that, and music is very powerful. I remember when I was a teenager that the films that I liked, I always wanted the soundtracks for those films so that I could listen to the music, even if it was crazy. And so I don't know why, but there's something powerful and very, very deep in the music. I remember having Back to the Future. Do you know the film Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Okay, so there
Trilogy,
were
right?
Yeah, a trilogy. There were 3 films made. Now, the first film had different pop music bands making the music, but the second and third one had just instrumental background music by a man called Alan Silvestri, who made a lot of music for major films, and I very much enjoyed listening to that music. Very dramatic, very nice music. So I had that. What else? Don't know. Crossroads. Crossroads was a blues film. I had the soundtrack to that. And RoboCop, which is like the worst film ever made. But when you're 15 and there's a film with a robot, it's like, it's a film with a robot. That's so cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great pieces of music connected to films. you know the Star Wars music, right? Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I know, sure.
Okay. So
Everybody knows.
yeah. It is a great piece of classical music.
Yeah.